said, it's not what you do for your children, but it's what you have taught your children to do for themselves that makes them successful human beings. We all learn line upon line, precept on precept. In the proclamation for the family, we are told that the mother's main responsibility is to nurture their children. As parents, we try to teach our children independence. One of the ways I've done that is by teaching them how to cook. When my granddaughters were very small, they hung out with me in the kitchen. The kitchen is like our red tent of ancient times. That's where I impart all my wisdom to my family as I'm cooking and as I'm feeding them. They used to have the red tent for women where the older women would teach the younger women what to expect in life and how to handle themselves and conduct themselves. This is what I use my kitchen for as I'm teaching them to cook. From the times my granddaughters were small, they would sit on the counter and they would lick the beaters. They would add a little bit of salt for me, a little bit of seasonings. They loved to help. They loved to learn. They wanted to be a part. But as they got older, they wanted to do more and more. So about the age of 3 or so, they wanted to cook. Grandma, I want to help. So I tried to think of what can I do to teach them to cook as well as talk to them and teach them. So I decided we go out to the barn and we get some chicken eggs, and they could crack the eggs, learn to crack the eggs, and then cook them in the microwave. That satisfied them for a little while, and they got pretty good at it. Then they go, Grandma, but we want to cook on the stove like you do, not in the microwave. So I'm a little bit afraid of them getting hurt. So we would take the center of a bread, we would pull the center out, and we would leave like a hole in the middle of the bread. That's like a frame. We put it in a frying pan with some butter. We drop the egg in the middle of the hole, and we would make an egg in a frame. So at about 4 or 5 years old, they were learning to carefully turn over food in the stove and work around the stove and not get burnt. Well, that lasted for about a year, and then they wanted to do more. So we still stuck with eggs. So we scrambled some eggs, and we would put them in the pan, and they would stir them up and serve their family. While they were cooking, I was teaching them how Grandma didn't know how to cook when she got married. I had invited some friends over. I was going to make spaghetti. I thought I was so smart about making this spaghetti. And I boiled the water. As I started to boil the water, I put the noodles in at the same time. Well, this didn't work out so well because by the time the guests got there, I had one lump, a spaghetti blob. Now, in most things in life, a lot of major deals in businesses, family decisions are made over food. So food is very important. So to learn how to prepare food and how to serve food is a way to bring people together in harmony. It's also a way to serve people. So I wanted my granddaughters to have these techniques. In Relief Society, when I teach, every year I have a challenge. This year it's called Keep the Sabbath Day Holy, and I've come up with quite a few recipes that you cook in a crock pot. That is a way to keep the Sabbath day holy. You start it before you go to church, you come home and you serve it on your fine china, which is usually paper plates, and that makes cleanup really easy. That way the moms or the women of the house can have a quiet Sunday and a Sunday of service rather than just cooking and doing dishes. So the next step I taught my granddaughters in how to cook and be independent was what's called a Mississippi roast. It's very, very simple. You find a roast. It is a simple roast. It doesn't have to be really fancy or really expensive. You need one package of au juice, it's the powder, one package of ranch dressing. You need pepperoncinis, crock pot of course, and a quarter cup of water. You put the roast in the pan. You sprinkle the au juice on top, the ranch dressing on top, put the pepperoncinis around it, put some water in the pot, put a lid on it, and cook it to 5 to 6 hours. This is a very simple way to teach children or men to cook, or me, because I had no cooking skills. When you're done, after 5, 6 hours, when the meat just falls apart, you put it on top of really simple mashed potatoes. It takes 2 cups of boiling water, and you add the mashed potatoes. When you serve it, you put mashed potatoes, then the meat, and some of the gravy from the roast on top. It is so delicious. But that's not a complete meal. So then I had the girls mix a salad. Very simple. We go out in the garden, we pick our salad, or we go to the store and get the already made salads with the dressings included, and I let them mix this up. The whole time we're cooking and we're talking and we're checking and we're taste testing, I'm teaching them different things that hopefully will make their lives better and teach them to be more independent. We tell Jesus stories. We talk about what they've done in school, what they've done in work, at what I'm doing at work in the Boy Scouts. how their families are growing and changing, and as they get older, the more responsibilities they have to face. This is a great time to work with your young women and teach them how to be better mothers and better wives. After the roast is cooked, you serve it up. And this is how my granddaughter did it this week. She made a cabbage salad with kale. There's her roast, but she didn't want it on her mashed potatoes. And then we made some biscuits to go along with it. You can start them young, 3, 4 years old, learning how to cook. And this is something that will last them a lifetime. And they won't have a spaghetti blob when they have people over for dinner. They'll be able to run a wonderful meal that everyone can enjoy. Cooking creates independence. You can use it on your mission, you can use it in your home, you can use it in so many ways. And as women in early society, you can make a big, huge roast and you can share it with your neighbors or someone who is sick. You've just learned how to cook a fabulous meal. You've learned how to teach your children simply and use a time of instruction in learning, teaching them independence as a way to include the gospel into it and family principles and values. A wise man named Benjamin Franklin once said, "Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me and I learn." When we do things with our children as we're teaching them and we show them and be a part of it, we capture that energy they have when they want to learn and be a part and share. I say go forward now, make your family a great meal, and bon appetit.